Now that we've looked at the leadership formula and the components of the formula and what makes up the formula, let's have a look at this formula in action and see how it works. So I'm going to give you two brief examples of where it worked, where it was applied, and the success that was achieved through it. And I'm also going to give you two examples of where it didn't work for certain reasons, because there were parts of it that weren't applied throughout. So let's have a look at the first one. Jesus of Nazareth is, in my opinion, probably one of the most successful leaders that has ever walked the earth. For the simple reason is that he has a following called Christianity who consists of more than 2/3 of the actual earth's population. Now, that's a big team. And if we look at what he did, effectively, he had a message. So for the Christians and the people that read the Bible and believe in the Bible, John 3 verse 16 is the verse that always comes up. And that was the message. The message that there was a father, and this father loved the world so much that he sent his son, and if you followed his son and believed in his son and followed the message, that you would then have eternal life. Now, I'm not trying to preach, I'm using it as an example, so whatever your belief, just look at the example. What he did is he took that message, he lived that message. So if you do read the Bible and you do follow Christianity, you will see that everything he did, everything he professed and everything he said, and in the message, he lived that, and he personified it. To the extent that what he then did is he took 12 mentees, and he mentored them with a message. Now, if you look at the message that he had, he was prepared to die, a horrible death. I wouldn't want to have my hands and feet nailed to a wooden cross and hung up there to die. But that's how passionate he was about his message. And he eventually got these 12 mentees, or 12 disciples as they were called, and he worked with them. And he put pressure on them. He made them do things that was outside. Remember, they were fishermen, and he suddenly had them doing different things that were totally out of their comfort zone. And he applied time. It was over a 3-year period. But he also allowed for failures. If you look at all the failures that happened, even to the point where one of them betrayed him, all of that worked. But what happened is those 12 or the 11 that were left took on that message as if it was their own. And they then mentored more people, who then mentored more people. And that is how this following grew to be more than 2/3 of the world's population. Another example is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King had a message. I have a dream. And his dream was that in the time that he was living, there was this racial divide and racial tension and the different races and fighting against, the Americans even had a civil war over slavery and all this type of thing. Now, he had a dream. He had this vision that black people would one day be accepted on an equal footing with white people. That was his dream. And he lived this dream. He was passionate about it. Remember, he too was assassinated for his dream. Shows the passion that he had in it. But he also mentored people, directly and indirectly. Malcolm X was one of his so-called disciples or mentees. But he mentored other people indirectly through his message and through being convincing in his message. People like Nelson Mandela, Albert Lutuli, Jesse Jackson, Mahalia Jackson, a guy called John Hume, who was an activist in social rights and civil rights activist in Ireland. And these people then eventually also portrayed that message, lived that message, took it on. And if you look at where the civil rights movement is in the world at the moment, you can see the success that one man's dream had. And it's all because of the message that they had. They had a message that was a clear, convincing message. They had conviction and determination and passion about that message. And what they did was they followed through and they mentored others in that message and got them to take on that message and duplicate the action. And that was the success that they had. Let's look at two failures. Use two political examples. Donald Trump, Emmanuel Macron. They are recent examples. We all know Donald Trump, the President of America, Emmanuel Macron, who is the President of France. If you look at the message that they had, I keep saying, if the people don't trust your message, they are not going to follow you, they're not going to trust you. So look at the message that they had. Trump said, let's make America great again. It's an inspiring message. His opposition, Hillary Clinton, didn't really have a message. So what did the people do? They bought into Trump's message and they voted for him. And he's now the president of the United States. Emmanuel Macron the same. He said, together France. That's inspiring. That gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. Yes, that's what I want. Le Pen, what was her message? Choose France. I'm already living in France. I am French. What must I choose? I've chosen. I made my choice at birth or when I moved here. So it wasn't a convincing message, and the people didn't fall for the message or buy the message and buy into the message. The problem, however, came in with the second part of the formula, the mentee. They didn't mentor anybody. They had the message, people voted for them because of the message, but they didn't follow through. They didn't drive that message. They didn't use the components of pressure and time and allowing people to fail in that to develop that message. All they did was they antagonized people because now that they had power, they suddenly started doing things that was contrary to what it was. They didn't follow through on their message. So now they're unpopular. And it's exactly, that is practical worldly examples of how the message is applied and how the formula is applied. So you need a message. You need a believable message that people can follow and that people trust. And they need to buy into that message. And how they buy into that message is you mentor them on that message. You tell them your message on a daily basis, continuously, until they buy into your message and they make that message their own. And when they make that message their own, they will then take that message, duplicate it, and mentor others. And in that way, you become a catalyst leader. Be careful, however. If you look at the formula, the mentee part has an N in front of it. Now, in mathematics, that usually represents that there could be a number of them. There could be many, more than one. And the C then is to the power of N, which means based on the number of mentees you have will depend on how many times you duplicate this catalyst action. You can have more than one mentee. Look at Malcolm X, look at Jesus of Nazareth. They had more than one mentee. But you can only have one message at a time. If you have more than one message, the C in the formula is not for a catalyst leader becoming a catalyst and making a change. The C now changes to confusion. Because that's all you're going to do, is you're going to confuse people. Just to give you a quick practical example. When my son was very small, I used to, on a Saturday morning, lie in bed and I would then say to him, go do this and fetch me this and make a cup of coffee and do that and do that. And then eventually, I would wonder where he is. And I'd get out of bed. And I'd get into the lounge and he's sitting watching TV. And I said to him, excuse me, where's the coffee or where's the... Oh, no, he did that one thing, but then he couldn't remember the other things. I have the same problem. My wife says, I don't have Alzheimer's, I have sometimers, which is I choose to forget when it suits me. Now, my wife sends me to do grocery shopping. If there's more than 3 things on the list, she needs to write it down. Otherwise, I can guarantee you I'm going to get 1, 2, and I'm going to walk with a trolley, and then I'm going to... And eventually I'm going to pick up the phone and say, excuse me, well, I know there were 4 or 5 things, but I can only remember 3. And then I get blasted. So you need one message, one clear message that person can hang on to and make their own, and they can duplicate it through other mentees, and in that way you become a catalyst and you develop more leaders.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rowan van Dijk, professional speaker, leadership trainer, and author of the book, Why Great Leaders Are Catalysts. If you enjoyed this video and you found the information useful, there are 3 actions that you can take. So, 1, you can subscribe to the channel and make sure to click the bell icon so that you are kept up to date with all the new additions and latest updates. Secondly, you can visit my website at rowanvandijk.com. And thirdly, you can click on the link at the bottom of this video for Amazon, and you can buy the book, Why Great Leaders Are Catalysts, and it will give you a lot more information and detail regarding the information that you have listened to in the videos.